It's from the storytelling manual, and the objectives are to tell a folk tale that is entertaining and enjoyable for a specific age group, to use vivid imagery and voice to enhance the tale. And with the speech entitled, How the Raven Freed the Moon, can you put your hands together with a rapturous applause for the one and only Miss Fix-It, Mary Walsh.
Now, children, as you all know, as I told you last week, in grade 3 in elementary school in Canada, we do a lot of work with folk tales. And I thought this year, instead of starting with the Hansel and Gretel's, we'd look at some of our own folk tales. Some of the folk tales that the people who lived here way before the settlers came. See what some of the stories they came up with, how they used nature and they really worked in it and made nature part of their lives. I'm sure some of you are familiar with the books, like How the Loon Lost Her Voice, Orca's Song about the killer whales. Today, we're going to talk about, I'm going to give you the story about how Raven freed the moon. Now, we all know that the raven, for the first peoples, was a very, very important animal. The raven in this picture is the one with the big beak. The raven is always known because it has the curved beak, and there's the wings. This is a picture of the raven on the boat. So the raven is the curved beak, and these are the wings. Now the raven is a trickster. The raven loves tricking, but never uses force. The raven also likes to use magic and use her wit, but sometimes she even outsmarts herself. That might remind me of people in this class. The raven is sometimes good, sometimes bad, but she is always beautiful. She likes beautiful things, especially bright, shiny objects. So the raven, one day the raven heard about an old fisherwoman and her daughter who lived in an island way up in the north of the country. And they had a cedar box, and inside the cedar box they had a round, bright, shiny thing they called moon. Moon was kept in the cedar box to make sure nobody would steal it. And as we talked about last week, cedar is really important for the First Nations people. The cedar tree was used for everything. They made ropes out of it, they made beautiful wooden boxes all carved. So Raven really got obsessed by this story of this moon. So she thought to herself, I'm going to go up and look for this moon. So off she flew. She flew up north over the trees, the mountains, the meadows, over the ocean. She started off in the day, and next thing it was night. She couldn't see where she was going because the stars were like pinpoints in the sky. They couldn't light her way. When she thought she couldn't fly any longer, she suddenly saw the old fisherwoman's house with her daughter sleeping in it. She flew down and quickly used her magic to change into a beautiful baby girl. She lay at the door of the house and cried. The old fisherwoman woke up and looked around, and everything was fine, so she just went back to sleep. So Raven took a big deep breath. Wah! The fisherwoman woke up. What was that noise? And the daughter goes, I think it was a baby. It couldn't have been a baby. Go back to sleep. Raven, outside the window, outside the door, takes a bigger deep breath. Wah! The old fisherwoman woke up. It must be a baby. They went out to the door, opened the door, and there was the most beautiful baby girl they'd ever seen. Jet black hair, shiny black eyes, and the happiest little baby they'd ever seen. The fisherwoman said, Is that your baby? And the daughter goes, It most certainly is not. But as she looked down, the baby just looked up and was so angelic. She said, but I think she wants to be our baby. But bring her in so, but keep her quiet. The daughter picks up the baby, brings the baby in to the house, and said, oh, her hands and feet are so cold. Well, warm her up then, and if you want to keep her, you have to keep her fed, you have to keep her warm, you have to make sure she sleeps and doesn't make noise, because I am working tomorrow and I'm very tired. So the daughter picks up held the baby and gave her some beautiful smoked fish to eat. The baby was so hungry, kept eating and eating and smiling up at the daughter. And the daughter thought this was absolutely wonderful. When she had fed the baby, kept her warm, the daughter was beginning to get sleepy because it was in the middle of the night after all. They'd been woken in the middle of the night. So she put a lovely blanket around the baby and laid her down right beside them on the floor. The daughter was very tired, so she just lay down, head on the pillow, and next thing the baby goes, wah! And the old fishy woman goes, wipes her eyes and goes, what's that noise? Is that baby crying? You better keep her quiet. So the daughter goes down, picks up the baby is, wah! She cuddles her, she sings her a beautiful song. The baby still won't settle. Eventually, after much rocking and stroking and singing, the baby fell asleep. The daughter was really tired. She left the baby on the floor, went into bed, and her head hadn't touched the pillow when wah! Again, she jumped out of the bed, picked up the baby before the fisherwoman would wake up. Shh, please, please. She's rocking her, and the baby is crying and wailing. And the fisherwoman woke up. What is wrong with that baby? I don't know, Mother. She's warm, she's dry, I fed her. I can't think what could be wrong with her. Well, give her something to play with. That's what babies like. Just distract her with something. Oh, I don't know. And next thing, the baby stopped crying. Looks up at the carved cedar box and stops crying and puts her hands up towards the cedar box. And the daughter goes, oh, Mother, look, she wants the cedar box with the you-know-what in it. But we can't let her touch that. So the baby then cries even more and bawled and went, wah! Top of her lungs, and would not stop until eventually the old fisherwoman said, would you give her that box to look at? Don't let her touch it, but take it down and just give me some peace. So the daughter takes down the beautiful carved wooden box, places it down on the table with the baby beside it, and says to the baby quietened immediately. Put her hands out to touch the wooden box. And the daughter goes, no, baby, you can't touch that. Just look at it, enjoy it, but you cannot touch it. So the baby was really quiet, and the daughter was so tired, she went to sleep. She just couldn't keep her eyes open. As soon as she was asleep, the baby crawls over and opens the wooden box to see the big white shiny thing there. It was a beautiful white shiny disc sitting on otter fur. The baby picks up the white round thing called moon and thinks it is the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. And she thought, I want this moon. The brightness of the moon outside the box woke up the fisherwoman, who said, that's not baby, that's the raven. And the daughter woke up and goes, oh no, it's Raven, and it's got our moon under its wing. So the raven goes, caw, caw, yes, I have moon and you're not getting it. It's mine, all mine. Come and catch me. So the raven is flying around on one wing around the house. The fisherwoman and her daughter are trying to catch her. They can't. She shoots up through the smoke hole in the middle of the house and starts to fly south. She has her moon. She's so happy. She has her moon. So she flies over the rivers. She flies over the trees. The moon is in her beak. She's flying, flying. But she doesn't realise how heavy Moon is. Moon isn't a pebble on the beach. It's not a huckleberry. It's heavy. So she's flying and flying. She almost dropped it over the ocean. And when she got so tired and she thought, I'll never make it over the mountains, Raven, with her last bit of energy, tossed her beak up in the air, let go of Moon. Moon went flying up in the sky, got caught by a cloud, and stayed in the sky, and shone over everything. The fisherwoman and her daughter looked up in the sky to the south and saw this big moon and said, there's our moon! Look up in the sky, it's shining, it's brightening everything tonight. And the fisherwoman said, you know, it should stay up there. It's much more useful to everybody there than it was in the carved cedar box.
Fellow Toastmasters, guests, and particularly Mary, and they're back. Mary, the objectives of your speech tonight were to tell a folk tale that is entertaining and enjoyable for a specific age group. You didn't actually tell us what age group we were, elementary class, grade 3 elementary school, but this story would have appealed to any age group. You have a reasonably middle-aged audience here, and you could hear a pin drop. Nobody even blinked for the 10 minutes you were telling your story, Mary. You did an excellent job. It was a lovely story to choose. It wasn't one I'd heard before. And the way you presented it, you came out here, you sat on the edge of the table, you were just like the teacher with her little class in front of her, and you entertained for 10 minutes. The title was very catching, The Raven Who Freed the Moon, and the story was absolutely beautiful and beautifully told by you. You used a lot of speech techniques to bring your story to life. Your tempo was excellent. You speeded up when things were getting exciting, when the raven was flying off to find the moon. The way you articulated beautiful baby girl was just gorgeous. We could feel the softness of the little baby girl that the raven had turned into. Your picture, I felt, was a bit wasted. You could have either made more use of it, or it was a little bit superfluous to the whole thing. I know you wanted to show us the raven, but you really could have left it out and it wouldn't have taken from your speech at all. You used volume extremely well. Just when you went very low to emphasize your softer points, I thought maybe just a little bit too low, that maybe people at the back of the room might have found it hard to hear what you were saying. And I also felt you maybe could have edited the story a little bit more. It's actually more difficult to interpret somebody else's writing than it is to write your own speech. And if you had maybe edited it a little bit more, you might have been able to use pause a little bit more effectively. You didn't really get time to stop and let us take it in. Overall, Mary, excellent. By far the best use of your voice and your facial expressions and your posture that I've seen in all of your speeches so far. Well done. Great.